Hello everyone, I am Dr. Karthik Anjaneyan, consultant interventional cardiologist practicing in Chennai. This video is being recorded on 11th August 2021. As these are pandemic times, we practice our COVID measures very strictly. As of now, I am in my private consultation room, being alone. I am not using the mask. In today's session, we will discuss a very important topic, which is widely colloquially known as heart attack. Medically known as acute myocardial infarction. So heart attacks are very dangerous. Everybody should know about heart attack because it is very important to know, because if 100 people get heart attack, around 40 people only make it to the hospital. That is, only 40% make it to the hospital. The remaining 60% won't make it alive. Such is the seriousness of heart attack. So everyone should know everything about heart attack, everything possible about heart attack, whether you are a doctor or not. That is very important. So in today's discussion, we'll see what causes heart attack, how we approach heart attack, how you have to prevent heart attack, and what are all the treatment measures available for heart attack. So nowadays, over the last 5 to 10 years, if you have noticed, we get to hear a lot of news about young people dying of heart attack. When I say young people, I mean people in the age group of 30 to 40. Even in late 20s, we hear about people getting heart attacks. About one generation back, say about 20 years back, heart attack is a disease of elderly people. Only 60 plus, 50 plus only will have heart attack. But nowadays it is not like that. We get a lot of young people getting heart attacks. So what has changed? Definitely our lifestyles have changed. Our food habits have changed. No, there is no exercise. Even for switching on a fan, we use remote nowadays. So there is no physical activity. So all these factors play a huge part. So what exactly is a heart attack? There is a lot of misconceptions about heart attack. People think there is something which happens inside the heart. No, heart attack is not something which happens inside the heart. It is actually happens little outside the heart. Heart actually gives blood to the entire body. We all know heart. It is heart from birth to death gives blood to the body, right from top to toe. It is the heart which supplies blood. Through the blood we get all nutrients like glucose, everything, so that we are functional every day. But heart itself requires blood to function. So heart gets its own blood supply by pumping. There is a big blood vessel called aorta which takes the blood from heart to rest of the body. From aorta itself, heart gets its own blood supply by thin arteries which are known as coronary arteries. So when these coronary arteries, which is actually situated outside the heart, they get blocked. When they get blocked, they won't be able to give blood to the heart. So heart won't be able to function. This is exactly what we call as heart attack. So heart attack is something which happens little outside the heart. This is one point I wanted to emphasize. So what blocks those coronary arteries, the blood vessel which gives blood to the heart, is a point we all have to know. There are multiple factors. Let us only discuss about common factors. One of the commonest culprit in heart attack, which causes heart attack, is high blood pressure. In medically we call it as hypertension. The second problem is dyslipidemia. Medically dyslipidemia. In common language, it is high cholesterol levels. The third biggest, it is not actually chronologically I am mentioning here. All these three can equally cause problems. The other problem is diabetes. Diabetes also can cause block in the blood vessel which supplies the heart. What are the other habits which can cause heart attack? Predominantly smoking and high consumption of alcohol. Or is there any other factor which will influence heart attack, which can cause heart attack? Is definitely one thing we cannot control is our lineage. That means genetics. If your parents or grandparents, they have the genes which genetically, if they are predisposed to heart attack, you may have the tendency to get heart attack. So these I have told 5 things now. These are all the 5 things which we have to be very careful about. Other things will fall in place if we take care of these 5 things. So what happens when high blood pressure is there? High blood pressure is there, the blood vessels which are supplying the heart will become rigid because of overwork. The heart has to do overwork to pump more blood. So it will become rigid and the inner wall of the blood vessel will get injured. So normally circulating blood cholesterol also will go get deposited there and will start creating a block. That block from a point of 10%, 20%, it will slowly become 90 to 100%. At that point, we will get rupture and heart attack. High cholesterol, when you have high cholesterol in the blood, that also will go and get deposited inside the blood vessel which supplies the heart. Again, high blood sugar, blood glucose will predispose the blood vessels for fatty deposition. So, and by the same mechanism, smoking will irritate the blood vessel, will cause the blood vessel to be predisposed to be ready to accept more fat, and that will lead to heart attack. So, finally the problem is the blood vessel which is supplying the heart will have a block. That is a problem. These blocks are caused by these various risk factors which I have already mentioned. When this becomes 100%, the blood supply to that particular area of the heart will get compromised. Basically, a heart is supplied by three main blood vessels: left anterior descending, left circumflex, and right coronary artery. In most of the cases, when a heart attack patient comes to us, one artery will be already 100% blocked. That doesn't mean the other two will be normal. The other two will be developing a block, will be 70%, 80% block. Next will be ready for next impending heart attack. So that is how these risk factors can lead to heart attack. So now we know what is a heart attack and how a heart attack is being caused. Now, what are the symptoms of heart attack? How a non-medical person should know whether what he has is a heart attack or not? The commonest problem in society is lot of people will mistake heart attack to gastritis. I've heard a lot of people saying that I developed some uneasiness in the chest, so I immediately went and drank a soda and I felt normal and I left it off. But actually what happens in most of the cases, that is not actually gastritis, that could be heart attack. After whatever measures, whether it is soda or antacid or whatever you try, 10-15 minutes later the patient may suddenly collapse having the heart attack. So what should be the symptoms one have to be alarmed of if it is how to distinguish between a heart attack and a non-heart attack? It is not always clearly possible for a non-medical person to do that, but we have to be alarmed. At least we should know what are the common symptoms. So first thing is that anybody will have a chest pain which is compressive type, which is compressing you will feel like tightness in the chest wall or squeezing kind of pain, which happens predominantly in the left side of the chest wall, and that pain will radiate to your left arm or sometimes even to the neck and jaw, sometimes to the nape of the neck also. So this is a classical presentation of heart attack. But if you ask me, does all the heart attacks present like this? No. There are heart attacks without symptoms also. Person will be absolutely calm and he'll have a heart attack. It happens very common with diabetics. There will be a person who comes and complains of just vomiting and it turns out to be heart attack. Vomiting could be an early symptom of heart attack. If you notice, one of the very dangerous symptom of heart attack is spontaneous sweating. There are a lot of people, when you are sitting in an air conditioned room or a well ventilated room, you suddenly start sweating profusely, think about a heart attack. Heart attack can come like that also. These things are all atypical presentation. Typical presentation is already what I told: a squeezing type of chest pain or a compressive type of chest pain, radiating pain to the arm or neck. So if somebody tells you you have a pain whether you suspect heart attack, if someone tells you this is not a heart attack, this is gastritis, I didn't have it like that, please don't trust. Immediately go and check yourself. Now comes the cardinal question: what I have to check, where I have to go? This will be the second $1 million question. Again, you cannot consult somebody over phone, even if he is a cardiologist, asking, sir, I have this pain, whether this is a heart attack or not. A cardiologist won't be able to tell you. If he won't be able to tell you, no, this is not a heart attack. Nobody in the world can do that. So what do you have to do? You have to visit a nearby hospital, whether the hospital or clinic, whether it has a cardiologist or not, doesn't matter. But go to a nearby hospital or clinic, get yourself do a ECG first. The first commonest diagnostic modality is ECG. 90% of heart attacks will be picked up by the ECG. But there are heart attacks which cannot be picked up by ECG. The ECG changes will be occurring, maybe your onset of pain, from the point of onset of pain, ECG changes will start occurring for somebody. It will start occurring after 2 hours, but you would have taken an ECG within 1 hour. So you have to wait. You have to wait to do one more ECG if there is suspicion. That will be decided by the doctor who sees the first ECG. The second commonest investigative modality is echocardiogram. If the same hospital has an echo, it is simple ultrasound kind of examination which will take only 2 to 3 minutes. They will see whether the one side of the heart is contracting slow, the other side is contracting fast. These things are the indicators of heart attack in echocardiogram. They will see and will be able to tell you. The third modality is do a blood test. When there is a heart attack, due to the block, the heart cells will start to die. The myocardium cells will start to die. While they are dying, they will secrete an enzyme that will be in the blood. So if they do a simple blood test, especially 3 to 4 hours after the onset of heart attack, that will be positive. So these three are the commonest laboratory and diagnostic modalities of the seen in a heart attack. One of these three will somehow will be positive and you will be diagnosed as a case of heart attack if it is a heart attack. Finally, what will the hospital will suggest you to the last but the best diagnostic test is angiogram. If these three are not able to give a clear idea, say you are having a block of 95%, all these three are negative, but this is causing pain like a heart attack, then they will immediately do an angiogram. Angiogram is nothing but an X-ray video visualization of the coronary arteries, which will be simply done by an injection either in the hand or in the thigh. And that is also, if done properly, it will be a 10 to 15 minutes procedure. That will clearly show whether there is a block or not. That is a gold standard. We will definitely diagnose there. Now we know how to identify a heart attack. Now what will the doctor do if it is a heart attack? That is a question. And one more question is, before I could reach the hospital, can I take any tablet? Lot of people do ask this question. Taking a tablet without medical advice is not correct. That is there is always that point, but there are a lot of villages where there are primary health centers, where other physician assistants will be there, nurses will be there, paramedical people will be there. Those paramedical people can always give tablets like simple tablets like nitrates, aspirin, clopidogrel, the antiplatelets and statins, that is which will reduce the cholesterol burden immediately if they suspect a heart attack. If there is no diagnostic modality available, they can give these drugs and then ship the patient to hospital. We call it as loading dose. We have specific dosages to be given, but that should be at least given by a paramedical person. But once you reach a hospital or a casualty of a hospital where the doctor suspects a heart attack, they will give these kind of tablets, and if it is a confirmed heart attack, then they will give clot breaking injections. Previously we used to have streptokinase that will be given. Nowadays we have lot of advanced agents which will be given. The streptokinase used to be given over a period of 1 hour. Now we have lot of advanced agents like tenecteplase and all, which will be given over a period of 1 minute. That can be given. That is one approach. If the hospital you have gone into already has a cath lab and a cardiologist right now there, then they won't even give the clot breaking medicine. They will directly take you to the cath lab, do an angiogram, see where the clot is, and give and do angioplasty, that is put a stent and open the block. That we call it as primary angioplasty. So these are all the treatment modalities when you have a heart attack. So without thinking medically, if somebody says I had a heart attack, I didn't have a symptom like that, so don't think this is a heart attack, you just take a antacid and settle down at home. Please, if somebody says like that, please don't ever listen to that, because not all the heart attacks are same. For every heart attack differs in symptoms. One patient have one kind of symptom, one other patient have a different kind of symptom. Especially ladies will present most of the times will present with an atypical symptom of heart attack. They will have pain even in the back. They will come with the back pain, but it could turn out to be a heart attack. So it is always better to take a medical opinion whether if you suspect a heart attack, especially when you have strong family history, or if you are a diabetic, or if you are a hypertensive, you are known case of high BP, or if you have high cholesterol levels. Please don't take chances. There is nothing wrong in getting to know whether this is a heart attack or not. If it is not a heart attack, then fine, we can always treat the other problems which is causing the pain. But if it is a heart attack and we miss it, it may result in loss of life. So be careful about that. So as I have already told how we diagnose and what we do to treatment part, I already told what the doctors will do in angioplasty. What are all the other drugs we give? We give drugs like nitrates and all to dilate the arteries so the blood supply becomes more. So the other supportive drugs like dilating the artery and heart failure preventing drugs, these are all the supportive drugs we give in treatment of heart attack. But predominantly what we give is clot breaking medicines, antiplatelets, cholesterol breaking medicines, and if required we will put a stent and open the block. So we put a balloon and open the block and then put a stent. That stent also will have drugs which will dissolve the block. So this is how we treat heart attacks when the patient comes with heart attack. Now last but not least, how to prevent See, preventive cardiology is very important. Prevention, if you ask me, prevention is not with the doctor, prevention is with the patient. So, we can advise how to prevent, but it is up to you to maintain a uniformity in preventive measures and prevent heart attacks. So, as I already told, who are all at risk, by now you will be knowing who are all at risk of having a heart attack. Now, how to prevent it? As I told, high cholesterol is a risk factor of heart attack. So, how to prevent, how to maintain your cholesterol levels? That is a very important thing for this generation. I already told, nowadays we are having a lot of young heart attacks because one of the important causes very bad food habits. So, that again comes here. How to reduce your cholesterol level? Correct your food habits. Stop consuming excess oily food, deep fried foods, pan fried, deep fried foods with saturated oils, dairy products, red meat products, all, and on top of it using it in unhealthy manner like deep fried and pan fried items. These kind of things you have to avoid. You have to consume more of unsaturated fat. Use oils which are less in saturated fat like olive oil, gingerly oil, those kind of oils. And even oil should be consumed very less. Less cholesterol diet is the way to go. If you keep on consuming bad diet and expect your heart to be normal, it won't be, especially after the age of 30. The present food habits, especially packaged foods, processed foods, high salty foods, if a food is preserved for 3 to 6 months, if it is imported from some other country, or even if it is maintained here in our country for 3 to 6 months, how it will be preserved? We know how it will be preserved, right? We use a lot of chemicals, we use high salt. How your kidneys or heart will be able to cope up with those kind of salt quantity? You should think about it. Freshly prepared food is always the best. Once in a while it is okay, but always be careful about your food habits. Now coming on to the next problem, how to control your blood pressure. Again, blood pressure, dietary, as I already told, less salt diet, less oily diet, which is good for both even cholesterol and diabetes. Same it applies to high blood pressure. But what are the other factors which will worsen the hypertension? Smoking. See, smoking, everybody knows, everybody keeps on warning about smoking causes cancer. The warning slogans and all being put in cinema halls and all everything. But nobody emphasizes on this. Smoking causes heart attacks. In India nowadays leading cause of death in people above the age of 30 is heart attacks. Smoking is one of the major culprit in that. So smoking causes heart attacks. So smoking has to be quit. There is nobody in this world who has quit smoking by tapering. That is, today 10 cigarettes, tomorrow 7 cigarettes, day after tomorrow 5 cigarettes. It will never happen. This is my last cigarette. Think about it and throw it away. Quitting, as far as smoking is concerned, there is nothing called keep it minimal, keep it less, nothing like that. Quitting smoking is the only way to healthy life. There ends the story about smoking. And how to maintain your diabetes. Same again, good food habits, appropriate treatment given by your diabetologist should be followed religiously. Now coming on to the final point in preventive cardiology. What is the role of exercise? Daily exercise is must. So when I say exercise, everybody will think, most of them will think, oh, I have to go to gym. No, nothing like that. If you are interested in going to gym, well and good, please go. If somebody is interested in going for a sporting activity like badminton or whatever, volleyball or whatever sporting activity, fine. Cycling, swimming, everything is fine. Please do it, and it is very healthy. But if you are not interested or not able to do all those things, no need to worry. Active walking is enough. If you walk for 45 minutes per day, that will keep the doctor away from you. As much as you walk away from the hospitals. You have to remember that it is not apple a day which keeps the doctor away. It is actually walking daily which keeps the doctor away. So if you walk for 45 minutes per day throughout your life, at least 5 days per week, most of the heart diseases will stay away from you. That is the mantra of life actually. So if you maintain this, and if you maintain adequate sleep and good stress-free life, these kind of heart diseases can be prevented. Please take care of your health. Last but not least, prevention is better than always cure. Take care.